Okay, I started the live stream. I'm going to record as a backup. I can't hear you. Can you hear him, Cindy?
No, I don't.
Okay, maybe. I don't know what happened all of a sudden. The mute all thing, maybe? I'm going to go over there.
All right, let's see if this. No, can someone
Now
go?
I hear. Now I hear.
Awesome. All right, try it again. This is the October meeting of the Bylaws and Ethics Committee. Call it to order at 7:07 p.m. Go around with introductions. I am Ryan Barthel, chair of the committee.
I'm Lisa Valella, member of the committee. Jeanette Wilson, co-chair of the committee. Veronica Castro, member of the committee.
Right, the conduct statement is attached and you can read it yourself. If you break the rules, be muted or asked to leave. Meeting minutes, Veronica, do we have those for last month?
They were submitted to the office. Jeremy, were they able, have they been submitted? I'm sorry, I didn't check prior to the meeting.
I don't recall. I know June. I think it was June we published. Hold on, I'm looking. Or I don't know if Ryan wants to look real quick. I'm looking. Pretty sure June was taken care of. I think September. I'm checking right now. Well, so June was the ethics committee singular, and I'm looking at September.
September's not up, so we'll go over it next month when they. Yep.
Yeah, but us June for ethics is if you want to look at that, whatever, and vote on that.
Yeah, let's look at June for ethics. Share that so everyone can see. I'll take a couple minutes to look over it, and if anyone has any additions or edits. They look okay to me. Does anyone have any notes or?
No, they look fine to me. They
Okay.
look fine to me as well.
Motion that we accept them. We have the motions.
No. Ryan, yeah, I think we do have to
Yeah.
motion. So you motion, I'll second.
Okay, anyone opposed? Abstaining? Minutes are accepted. Now we'll move on to our agenda. The first one, the first bullet is proposed bylaws amendment, and the first one is the combination of sanitation and environmental protection and parks and recreation committees. So sorry, there are two combinations that are being proposed, combining the sanitation and environmental protection and parks and recreation committees, which I hope will have a better name, as well as combining housing and land use. Is that correct, Cynthia? We'll end up with two
Yes.
combined committees. Okay.
Yes.
Any discussion on this? I don't really have any. I mean, the committees have agreed to it, I understand, and
Yes.
fewer meetings I think is better, and hopefully will drive better attendance.
Yes.
Meetings being held, so, anyone else have any discussion?
No, I think it positively impacts quorum.
That's
Yep.
the hope. All right, we'll do a vote on that at the end of the motions. And the second one, elected officials at full board meetings shall receive an initial 5 minutes of uninterrupted speaking time, with the exception of the Bronx Borough President, who shall receive an initial 10 minutes of speaking time. So I'm going to kind of jump the gun a little bit. We're going to look at Robert's rules later, because that is part of what our bylaws are based on. And one of the ways that we have not really been following them is in discussions per Robert's rules. Everyone goes around and says their piece. It's not really an open table discussion, which is what I feel like we often do. And that leads to some people not being able to speak, and generally just favoring the loudest folks. So the way it's put in this particular document is everyone has a chance to speak once before someone speaks a second time. So I'll let whoever'd like to open up the discussion if we have any.
I just have a question. So if it says initial, do we have to specify what happens after the initial speaking time?
We don't have to. The way it so
I think afterwards, if we look it up, I think if there is a specification that the chair or something along those lines has to. I think it's the chair's discretion if they ask for additional time.
so the way that we have always handled it in my short time here, but is that you will, when I'm not sure why this one has initial with the gallery session, it might be because it was a copy paste, but in the gallery session, it was an initial 5 minutes followed by time for questions. And now we've changed that to an initial 5 minutes with a time limit on the amount of time there is for questions. So I think the initial here might be redundant because I don't think that there's any limit on the time given for them to answer questions from the board. So yeah, I don't think that the initial is a particularly operative word here. Veronica or Lisa?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. So we're talking about the elected officials. They had 5 minutes. And then it's open for anyone to ask questions with no time limit.
Correct.
Okay.
But the change is this adding the 10-minute speaking time for the borough president.
Yes, which is the boss. I think that's appropriate.
But if we have no time
Well, let's see
limit,
if Veronica has anything.
no, I'm just looking up the bylaws to see what it says afterwards,
Okay.
to be.
I mean,
Sure.
I think that's fair. She's the head of all of the community boards. She doesn't come very often.
So I am against this particular amendment. I think that it unfairly favors one particular elected official, right? What the Bronx Borough President does is important. What our assembly folks do is also important. What our council people do is also important. And I don't like the idea of extending extra time to any one of those elected officials. I remember a couple of years ago, the mayor's public assistant, Alina, I can't remember her title, I don't want to mess it up. But she was a little bit miffed that she got the 2 minutes instead of the 5 minutes. So I think that there's some challenges in extending this extra courtesy. And I also think that it's even worse in my mind because she is the boss. It makes it hard for us to vote against something like this because we, as I was reminded very pointedly over the summer by their office, that we serve at their pleasure.
I have a suggestion. Could be completely off. What if you allowed the extra minutes if she comes as opposed to her representative?
Well, it's only if she.
Oh, it's only if she, okay, I didn't know if it
Yeah,
was
it-
her or her
The
representative.
representatives are on the next line
Oh,
and, they basically get, I think, the same 2 minutes as the regular gallery.
okay, on the next line of the bylaws?
I believe it's on the next line, but it's
Oh,
in there that they would also, they get
Okay.
the same as 2 minutes. In the bylaws, it says, right now, that they get, 5 minutes of uninterrupted speaking time and they may respond to at most 4 questions or comments from board members without any time restriction.
Mhm.
So that means that you could ask them a question and they can go on. And then expound on that answer for as long as they want, basically.
can you
Yeah.
do maximum of 15 minutes or 10 minutes?
That's what we've done for the gallery session. We
Yeah.
have not done that for the elected officials.
The issue with the elected officials is if there is no time specified, we have had meetings that have gone on incredibly long.
Yep.
So I think to not have specifications as to how much time is allowed. I've even seen in the gallery, someone has an initial 2 minutes and then because they get questions, it's at times stretched to 30 minutes.
We have closed that particular loophole, though not for the electeds.
If,
For the gallery, it
And I
has.
think there's so many elected officials
yeah,
that you really, we do have to put some type of cap. There's so many, it's like more than a half a page of elected officials.
we could table this if somebody wanted to amend the amendment to include a time restriction on how, like, how many
That's always
questions
fine.
and the time restriction to answer those questions. We don't have to vote on this today.
Okay,
We could table it and somebody just come up with additional language to add to that.
so 5 minutes for electeds. Our president gets 10, they're allowed how many questions?
4
Four
minutes without, without any time restriction, at
Four
most,
questions,
yeah, at
Four
most, 4
questions.
questions.
okay.
So I mean, that's up to you guys if you wanna table it. We can make the motion to table it. Do we have to make a motion to table it? I think so, right? Jeremy?
Do you think a total of like time not to exceed 15 minutes? Because if they speak for 5, doing another 5 minutes of questions might not be enough time.
Yeah,
Because you have to have the person have ask the question, so maybe a total time of 15 minutes?
so we're looking at, so to answer the questions, an additional 15 minutes, we're
No,
looking
no, 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 so
Oh.
5 minutes, and then
up to 10
up to
minutes.
10 minutes for a total time of 15 minutes.
What do
What do you
you think,
think?
Cynthia?
What
You
was the
made it-
question? I'm sorry. What was the language again?
So we said if the elected officials get 5 minutes, the borough president gets 10. Then they are allowed 4 questions follow-up from the board for 10 minutes, total time not to exceed 15 minutes.
I think that's fair.
I think giving them only another extra 5 minutes for questions really isn't enough time because they're allowed 4 questions. That's like a minute and 10 seconds per question. So giving them 10 minutes for a total time of 15.
So I would disagree with that just because I think that what the elected officials are, I mean, there are 2 purposes that we've talked about that the elected officials being at our meeting serve. Number 1 is to hear from the people who are here and to hear from the committees and to understand more from a different perspective what's going on in the community. I think that moving them up to the front of the meeting has kind of discouraged that to a degree. And the other thing that they come in and do, they or their representative, is to tell what they're doing in the community. So there's not a lot of back and forth. It's usually just, what is this event? Can you give me a little bit more detail about the event? The only time that we've had someone who is going to extremes with that, with the questions or with the initial statement, has been the borough president. And I think it's fairly pointed that one of the times was in May before a contested primary, and I think that extending the time, talking about 15 minutes, doing any of this, to me, it calls into question in my own mind how independent of a group we can be. Are we here to speak for our community, or are we here to speak what the borough president wants to hear until we say something that they don't like? You know,
I mean, for the most part, most elected officials or their representatives, like you said, Ryan, come in, tell you what their office is doing, parades or
Yeah.
fundraising, whatever they're doing. Very, very few times have I seen an elected official or the representative take the entire time and then have follow-up questions where it exceeded other than when the borough president came.
So I have a different perspective.
Okay.
If we do this cap, because I agree that I would think the majority of the time the elected officials do not use the time.
I don't think they do.
By doing this, are we then saying that if the borough president has 10 minutes and gets an additional 10 minutes for questions, that then at the 20-minute mark, it is over and done?
That's
would-
basically
yeah,
what we're
that's
saying.
basically what we're saying. And I think that's fair and respectful to her that when she comes, she doesn't come very often.
She
Which I
does
think is
not,
part of the
but
point.
Yes.
I think that the issue is that, unless we redefine what the purpose of the community full board meeting is, I think that it's fair to say that we apply the same rules to all of the elected officials. And we are giving the borough president, more time than any other official, which is, it can be interpreted many different ways, but we are doing it. But if we are doing it, then there should be a hard stop that should be respected.
the last time that she came, there were 2 elected officials. One was asked to stop at 5 minutes. They did stop. The other was not. I don't think that the work that Assemblyman Zakara does is any less important than the work that the borough president does. He focuses on a portion where the borough president is the entire Bronx, but I do not think, nor would I want to send the message that what he is doing is only worth 5 minutes while the borough president is allowed. I don't know how long it was. I didn't look. I'm not, putting a stopwatch to it, but to me, that's not the message that I would like to send.
Can we move forward making the adjustment to this that we made, or does it have to go?
To put the total time limit, my understanding of this is that we get an idea for a proposal and then we can craft it into something that makes sense. But I feel like the limit on the time for questions is substantially different enough that it should probably go through the
process.
go back to the
Okay.
full board and then back
Okay.
here.
So somebody has to send it to Cynthia.
Mm-hmm,
Cynthia will read it at the full board,
mm-hmm.
and then it'll come back to us for voting on at the next bylaws meeting. But it has to
Okay.
get to her before the full board meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
And then it has to be mentioned to Jeremy to add it to the agenda for the full
Okay.
board.
Yeah.
okay.
Any other discussion? All right. So the next part that I wanted to talk about, and this mouse is acting up. Apologies. You can do it. Share this as well. This is something that someone else had shared. I believe it was Rich actually a couple of years ago. Robert's Rules of Order is extremely arcane and long and a pain in the neck. But this is a little 2-page thing that gives some of those, it's a Cliff's Notes version. And for me, at least, a lot of the frustration that I find coming to meetings is that they often feel disorganized, where folks are talking over one another, or there are some of us who are naturally louder or more willing to jump into a conversation, and they're the ones who end up being heard. So this is how we say in our bylaws that we're gonna run things, and I'd just like to run through it really quickly. Like the first part, the very first bullet point, everyone has a right to participate, and everyone has a right to participate once before someone may speak a second time. So we need to make sure that we're, and this is not just here, obviously, this is in all of our meetings, but we're trying to bring the whole board up a level. So we can hopefully bring this to other spaces as well. So if we see a discussion getting out of hand or turning into a back and forth between a couple of folks or something like that, where is that? There is, everyone has the right to know what's going on at all times. Only urgent matters may interrupt the speaker. And then down here, there is something on that urgent matter. Point of order, where is it? There we go. So you may interrupt the speaker. This mouse is killing me. To get information about business. So if we're, what are we doing? Like a minute ago when we were saying, do we want to table it? Do you need a motion to table it? That would be a parliamentary inquiry. If you see a breach of the rules, if people are talking over one another, you can call a point of order. Get the mic at the full board or in any of our meetings. Stop, point of order. We need to let everyone speak one at a time. Disagree with the president of the board or the chair of the committee's ruling and appeal. If you can't hear, a question of privilege. So if something is blocking a view, and that could be someone in the gallery as well, could call for these things. Probably not the gallery, a board member online. And if you disagree, for a call for unanimous consent, usually we'll call for I can't remember what we call it when you go by names.
Roll call?
Yeah, roll call vote. So, and then there are quite a few other things. And then down here, looking at these motions, do they need to be seconded? Are they open for discussion? Do you have to have a majority or 2/3? Actually, I don't think we're allowed to do 2/3. That's an open meetings law thing. You can only do a majority of those present for a vote to pass. And then we've got these others are questions, so just generic, how do you do things? And rather than go into each, well, we could, I don't know, it's only 7:30, we're not taking a ton of time today, so. If you want to bring a new idea, you can present a motion. In our case, we wait until after we hear from the gallery to vote on motions, but then after the discussion, it can be voted on. If you want to change the wording, so that's kind of what I was talking about with this, whether if it's a wording to make it fit or to make it legal, then that's something that we have to do, that we're required to do. If it's a wording to completely change what the initial motion was, then we probably have to go back through the process. I think everyone can read this. It is linked on the agenda, so it'll be there.
This is real good, Ryan. I like the little cheat notes.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever you call them, but they're good, and I agree with you. We do have to be more in line with these, especially when it comes to us speaking, because we jump over each other. Or someone who's up for a question will go on and ask 3 more questions when they're only supposed to ask 1 and let somebody else ask the next. So I agree 100% that we need to start putting that into action for our meetings.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring it out here. It is here, it's linked with the agenda, you can all see it. Yeah, Cynthia.
Just as an FYI, I posted a link to a YouTube presentation in the chat. It's from the city, and it's actually the person who does the parliamentary procedure training for new board members. This presentation is from 2023, but it also goes, it's like an hour long maybe, but it goes over all the basics of parliamentary procedure. We can have Jeremy forward it to, the staff to forward it to all board members. It's worth taking a look at.
Yeah, and we'll throw it into the minutes as well. So, okay. Does anyone have any discussion on this?
Well, I do have to say, I think the meetings, I've only been on the board 1 year, but I have gone to meetings. I'm going to say that the meetings over this past year have been so much more organized, respectful to each other, and I don't see, other than, things get heated between, if you're in a conversation and it's, it's something, that's big. But I just think this past year has been such a big difference, as opposed to when I was not on the board, but I would go to the meetings. They got a little crazy, but no, I do have to say that this year I think everyone is pretty much respectful. Maybe some people call out or whatever, but I think everyone pretty much for the most part is respectful.
We've made a lot of progress.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're doing well and hope to continue growing. If nothing else, then we can move to the gallery session. Do you have anything you'd like to?
Let me go over so that
Yeah.
they can see you.
I was listening. I am very familiar with parliamentary and Robert's rules of law. I had to take it over and over as board president. But my question was, in reference to the time allotted to the president and to the leaders, the elected officials. What is the role of the borough president to the board? Maybe I'm not clear what a role is, because if I'm thinking what a role is, I'm thinking she should be allotted the time once a month that she needs. But only if I can understand what a role is, and I think when you answer that, I think I probably got that a little bit. And the roles of the elected officials, they are to come and tell us what they are doing in the community and take questions from the board members and the gallery, or it's just the board members?
I think
Who are they taking the questions from?
At the full board, it's
And
just
the
the
full board, who are
board.
they taking the questions from?
It's just the board.
Just the board,
Mhm.
okay. And at the full board, is there a gallery as well? No.
Yes.
So, the borough president, she is technically the leader for the community boards, is that correct?
She appoints.
She appoints the members and the staffers and the chair, no, she doesn't do the chairs,
The
the board,
so
okay,
the board is in charge of hiring like the district manager,
okay.
and
So it's-
we elect our own chairperson. And the borough president is in charge of. There's some influence that council people can have on putting forth board members, but I believe that the borough president has the final say on who is appointed to the board. And the
Why
borough president,
up to the meetings, the full board meeting, what is the role, why is she coming?
she does not have to. She has chosen to,
Oh,
I think, 3 or 4 times in my 3 years here.
Yeah, she doesn't come very often.
is that with all the other boards, she attend all the other boards, or she choose where she wants to go?
It's totally up to her.
So-
I don't know how often she visits the other board. I have no idea.
Can we be different in what we are asking? Can we be
Yes.
different from that?
Do we know what the other boards do in
Turn
terms
out to be
of,
consistent, okay.
do they have?
Jeremy would know.
I think that might be a good idea to kind of
Jeremy,
investigate
if he doesn't know, he can reach out to some of the
and
other
find out
boards to
what is
find out.
their rules. So this way we're somewhat the same.
When you said, I'm trying to understand, when you said the questions can be asked with uninterrupted time, how long is the board meeting?
Oh.
People generally do not.
Unfortunately, the board meeting was not a set time. And if you don't regulate, I have been to meetings where we've been there almost to midnight. And a meeting that starts at 7.
Is that allowed?
Well, if we're still working on stuff.
That's-
Staying.
But
It depends on who you ask.
It hasn't been like that. It hasn't been like that for the last few months.
We have gotten a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been like that for the last few months. On a perfect day, it would be between an hour to 2 hours long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but we have come up upon issues where it has made us have to stay longer. But it is, you
And is
know,
that your bylaw?
there's
That
no
you can
time,
stay- There's no time limit. That's
There's no
that's
time
your
limit.
bylaw.
yeah, there's no mention of how long our meetings have to go.
So sometimes if there's a community issue, you'll have several members of the community come and speak, and so that adds time, and then it becomes more of a discussion.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I should have called on Diana first. You were registered. I apologize, but no, it's okay. On me. Diana, I think I asked you to unmute, but yeah, go ahead.
Yes, you did. Hi, everyone. Following on really from your conversation, I wanted to propose a change to the bylaws in section 13, Article 6, section 13, which is hearings and meetings, the gallery session. And the bylaws already say that there shall be a gallery session at every public meeting. And then 13A says each gallery session speaker at full board meetings shall receive an initial 2 minutes of uninterrupted speaking time. And I would like to propose just taking out the words full board. So it's each gallery session speaker at meetings shall receive an initial 2 minutes of uninterrupted speaking time. And the reason for this is that sometimes, really more often at the committee meetings, some of them can get a little casual sometimes. And like I've had the experience of starting to speak and I have questions and then I'm interrupted and discussion ensues about the first question I've asked. And the discussion is all wrapped into my speaking time. So before I know it, the 2 minutes are up. So when it was pointed out to me that the bylaws already allow for uninterrupted speaking time for the full board gallery, I thought it would be a good idea to extend it to the committee meetings as well. And I think that the brief Robert's rules that you said do list like the very specific situations where a speaker could be interrupted. And that in general, it's following Robert's rules to not interrupt people mid statement, especially if it's a timed statement.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't sure exactly which way you were going with this, but the way it's worded, there is no 2-minute time limit at committee meetings either. So it both extends that. It clarifies everything a lot. So, I like the idea.
If I'm reading this correctly, it says that gallery speakers at meetings as well as,
This is amended.
this is the amended one?
This is, this is not the amendment that she's proposing, but this is the effect of the amendment that she's proposing. Currently, it just says gallery speakers at full board meetings
So-
have an initial.
So this is going to, okay.
If you just strike the full board meeting, above it references the gallery session shall be present at all meetings, then you're at all meetings, you get the 2 minutes uninterrupted. Yeah, I'll send that. I like it. I think that it clarifies things and neatens it up and gives someone in the gallery, not, anyone, a leg to stand on when they say, excuse me, I have my time and I'd like to use it. Okay. And I see Ms. Cardona, you have your hand raised if you would like to speak.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
Oh, great. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Oh, I forgot what I was actually going to say. Yeah, so the full board meetings, which I don't attend, sometimes online, but mostly I just catch up the next day. I do like the idea of limiting the electeds somewhat. I know that they have important things that they need to discuss, but I do agree with Jeanette because years ago, when I was active on the Upper West Side, CB11 on the Upper West Side, I mean, those meetings would go on to 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I actually lived in Queens at the time. So, yeah, I can understand why, people might feel like they need to go home and get some sleep to go to work the next day. If you have electeds speaking, on and on, it just kind of extends meetings beyond where they need to go. And as far as the borough president is concerned, it's nice to give her extra time. But the thing is that our borough president, she's a lovely speaker, but she does tend to go on for quite a length of time. And like maybe limiting it a little bit is not such a bad idea. I mean, I know you serve at her discretion and it puts you in a not great position, but maybe, if there's someone that could explain to her why it's important to capsulize it a little bit, because there is important business before the board in a full board meeting. That's just my little statement. There was another thing I wanted to say, and for the life of me, I can't remember. So I'm just going to say, have a great meeting. I'm here.
Thank you,
Thank
Kay.
you.
I can't remember.
All right. Would anyone else like to speak? Try to miss anything in the chat. Okay. Seeing nothing, we'll move on to old business. Motions. So first one, motion to combine the 4 committees that are mentioned above into 2 separate committees: sanitation and environmental protection and parks and recreation committees into 1 committee, and housing and land use into another committee. And to make the necessary changes in the bylaws to do that, which I believe will be I don't know how detailed we need to get into that discussion. I mean, they just combine the responsibilities. So yeah, the motion is to combine those 2 committees and to make the necessary changes in the bylaws that will be presented to the full board. The full language will be presented to the full board.
We just need a second.
Yes.
A second.
Any discussion? We already did discussion. What am I talking about? Any abstentions? Any opposed? That passes. And we're going to motion to table the elected officials and do an updated one next month. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion to table the elected officials' time amendment.
I'll second.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
No.
So be it. All right, old business. The only old business we had talked a little bit last month about maybe going over the bylaws sort of from top to bottom, spending a long time on it. We got no interest in that from anyone else that I heard of. I didn't hear anything from Jeremy or from Cynthia either. I don't know if we want to still continue going through with that because we're continuing to amend it quite a lot. So I don't know. I think that it would be not, maybe that would be something better to do over a summer rather than in the middle of business.
I think we're coming towards the holidays and it might put too much pressure on
Yeah.
everyone. Or a lot of commitments.
So didn't want to leave it hanging, but yeah, seems like we should, maybe we'll not worry about that for now.
Maybe just bring it back up in January. I don't know if we should wait
In
for the
January.
full summer, because
Yeah.
we're not gonna get a lot of people that are gonna wanna
Yeah.
come for a committee meeting during summer.
Well, sunny 85 every day, come to the
I
CB11.
agree with revisiting in January.
Yeah, January's good.
That's good. And the other one, new business, law department's proposed amendments. This is just, I think those have been passed around on email, but they'll be presented fully at the full board. So just to let people know that you have that to look forward to on Thursday. And those are amendments to the code of conduct and something else. But it'll be up on the agenda. It's probably already up on the agenda. Any other new or old business? I'm sorry I skipped that question before moving on, but any other business?
No,
No. So just question, Lisa, are you gonna provide the language or that amendment to Cynthia?
Sure. Okay.
I just wanna make sure that we have someone who's gonna do it before the full
About,
board.
yes,
Yeah.
okay, I will send it to you, Cynthia. I want to make sure I'm writing it right. So it's 5 minutes uninterrupted for electeds
Mhm.
plus
The best thing to
5
do is
minutes.
look at the bylaws. So
Okay.
you'll know exactly how it's written in the bylaws, and then
And
we
then
just
change.
wanna
Okay.
add where it says what does it say? 4 questions with unrestricted time, that's where we wanna.
Total
make
of
the
10,
change.
so for elected officials, it's a total of 10 minutes. For the borough president, it's a total of 15 minutes. But wait, no, we are still debating that, correct?
Well, I mean, that can be what the proposal is and we'll discuss it, yeah. And then it loops both the one that's currently on the table as well as the amendment and then it's all there to be talked about.
Okay.
All right.
That's the time.
I can't speak tonight. What is the word for when you close the meeting?
You wanna
I
adjourn?
want to adjourn, goodness. I blame my children. No, I
Motion to
can't even
adjourn.
blame them. Motion to adjourn at 7:49. Thank you, everyone.
That was quick and easy.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
7:49, you said?
yeah, 7:49.
Yeah.
Night, everybody.
Good night.